another very interesting round looms, and I, Kevin, will predict what the results will be in round 20 in the AFL season, of course. What else would I be talking about? Anyway, so to start off the week, we head to Marvel Stadium on a Friday night where Hawthorn plays North Melbourne. You'd think that'd be held in Tassie for the Tassie Derby, but okay, whatever. Who cares? I'm tipping Hawthorn because Hawthorn are in some better form compared to North. I think North, apart from winning 4 of their first 5 games on the shore, they've lost their last 3. Hawthorn, okay, they were sort of dominant against Brisbane, I could say, like in the midfield, but they were inaccurate. So inaccuracy might cost them, but I think Hawthorn will be a North Melbourne side that are slipping in form. On the back of some alright weeks. I see Hawks winning. On Saturday afternoon at Marvel Stadium, Essendon versus Port Adelaide. Now, Port Adelaide would be stupid to think that their season is over. Judging on what I've heard from the internet, though, it seems like they think it is. But it's not, because I had an 8th on my ladder predictor. They play Sydney, they should win that. They play North Melbourne, who they haven't lost in 8 years, they should win that. And Fremantle haven't lost to Port Adelaide haven't beaten Port Adelaide and Adelaide since 2013. So they'll win that. So that's 3 games in a row. Now, regardless of what happens this week, I think Port are still with a chance for finals. I do think Essendon will win, however, because Essendon, well, it's at home, and they're playing better than Port Adelaide are. So, yeah. Port will give it a crack, but I think Essendon, their class, they'll beat Port. Also on Saturday afternoon at Spotless Stadium, GWS versus Sydney. Sydney, one of the most out-of-form teams in the competition at the moment, against GWS, who are starting to get back on a winning streak after a bit of a form slump. I know they only just beat the Power, but they go play an out-of-form Sydney side, who've lost, their last 4 games? Yeah, they've lost their last 4 games. So I think GWS should easily account for Sydney. On Saturday afternoon, Fremantle versus Geelong. Now, I swear to God, if Fremantle win against Geelong, but then they lose to Gold Coast, Carlton and Melbourne, I swear to God, it'll be funny. I don't think that'll happen, though. I think Geelong, they're trying to hold on to their top spot, and I think Geelong will be able to be an out-of-form Freo side who haven't won a good game of footy since they played Port Adelaide. And the only win they had in that time, they've lost 5 out of their last 6. The only win they had was a 1-point win to an out-of-form Sydney side. Compared that to Geelong, yeah, they're having a bit of a shaky form at the moment. Having lost to both Hawthorn and Port Adelaide in recent weeks. Yeah, I don't think they've lost to anyone else, have they? But Geelong, I still think they're good enough. The Bulldogs. Geelong, I still think they're good enough to beat Fremantle over at Optus Stadium, and I think another 133-point smashing will be brewing. No, I'm joking. Alright, Saturday afternoon, Melbourne versus Richmond. You gotta go Richmond. Melbourne out of form. Lose to teams like St Kilda, barely beat Carlton, lost to the Bulldogs, who actually are in some good form, so I don't know why I'm mentioning that. Yeah, they're out of form. 5-win season, one of the biggest disappointments of the year. Richmond, well, they showed against Collingwood that they're a force to be reckoned with. The team's back. Yeah, so Richmond, you got to go Richmond. Also on Saturday night, now Adelaide versus St Kilda. Adelaide will go into this game wanting to win, or hopefully wanting to win, to keep their final 8's hope alive. But I think Saints will win under Brett Ratton, because I don't think Adelaide will come in wanting to win. Because I think Adelaide have some cultural issues right now. St Kilda, on the other hand, are rejuvenated. They've been freed up by Ratton. They've won their last 2 games, and I think St Kilda in an upset will win for the first ever time in Adelaide Oval. Speaking of wasted season for Adelaide. Sunday afternoon at the MCG, Collingwood versus Gold Coast. Yeah, free win, Collingwood. No, I'm kidding. Collingwood are in a little bit of a form slump right now. Well, injury crisis, actually. Gold Coast, they had an effort against Essendon, but lost, and they lost to their home ground. So I think they'll go to the MCG and get slaughtered by Collingwood. Well, I wouldn't say slaughtered, but I think Collingwood should easily account for them. Collingwood on a winning streak against Gold Coast. They haven't lost to Gold Coast for a long time. Not since 2014, I don't think. The team that destroyed Gold Coast finals hopes that year. And anyway, and I think Collingwood, it's a home game at the MCG. Gold Coast on the bottom of the ladder, lost their last 14 games, so Collingwood should win. And on Sunday afternoon at Marvel Stadium, Carlton versus West Coast. Carlton are playing well, West Coast are playing even better. Carlton don't have much to play for apart from pride. West Coast have a top 2 spot to play for, potentially top spot. So I think with West Coast they might be more determined than Carlton and win. Now, yeah, their form out of home hasn't exactly been like obliterating by any means, but I think West Coast will go over to Carlton's ground and they'll get the job done. I don't think it'll be a slaughter, and to be honest, even last year West Coast just scraped Carlton, but I do think West Coast, having more to play for, will win. And on Sunday, twilight, Brisbane versus the Bulldogs. Interesting game. Bulldogs trying to secure a top 8 spot. Brisbane trying to secure a top 2 and potentially title. In my opinion, Brisbane will win because, well, it's at the Gabba. Haven't lost at the Gabba since Collingwood all the way back in round 5. That's the only time they've lost there. The Bulldogs, I'm not sure if they could beat a really good side like Brisbane. They beat Geelong, although it was at their home ground. And they have beaten Richmond, so they can do it. But I do think Brisbane, they're on a 6-game winning streak. I think that's going to be 7 for one main reason. It's at the Gabba. Oh, yes, the Bulldogs did beat Brisbane, but it was in Ballarat, a place where Brisbane have never played. I think the tables will turn now that we're back at Brisbane's home ground. Okay, I'm rambling on. Final line, Brisbane will win. So, to recap my tips, I am tipping Hawthorn, Essendon, GWS, Geelong, Richmond, St Kilda, Collingwood, West Coast, and Brisbane. Hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment what you think of the video down below, or comment your tips. Check out my other videos and share it with other people. And as always, I'll see you next week. Bye.